Hello, friends, and welcome back to I've Been There. Today, I want to talk about something that so many of us struggle with, and that is unplugging. Not just from social media or our phones, but from the constant noise in our heads, the stress, the expectations, and the always on lifestyle we've all gotten so used to. So yesterday, Kirk and I did something we have not done in so long. We completely unplugged for the afternoon. No phones, no emails, no social media. We just hopped on our ATV and rode around our farm, soaking in the sunshine. And it was so needed. After weeks of cold, rainy, gray weather, it was 70 degrees outside and absolutely perfect. And let me tell you, I didn't realize how much I needed that. He didn't realize how much he needed it either. But just being outside, feeling the sun hit your face, breathing in that fresh air, it was like a total reset. And it made me think, how often do we actually allow ourselves to unplug and recharge? So that's what today's episode is all about. Giving yourself permission to unplug your mind and recharge your soul. Let's be honest. Most of us struggle to unplug. We feel like we always need to be doing something. That's my grandmother in the back of my mind. So I don't read books, or I didn't. I don't watch a lot of TV. I have a very, very hard time with downtime because I had a grandmother that said there's always something to do. This was the grandmother that got up at 5 a.m., hit the ground running, made breakfast, did all the chores in the house, left the house, did the errands, came back, made lunch, did more chores, whatever needed to be done, had dinner, and then, you had your bath at the end, and then you went to bed, and that was it. So there was a lot of structure, but there was always something to do. So it's very, very hard for me to have downtime. And I struggle with not responding to messages or checking my social media 1,000 times a day. I work on social media. That's what I do. However, you shouldn't let it consume you. And there are days, I'll be honest, it does. It consumes me because I feel like if I'm not constantly doing something on social media, then I'm not productive. And that is so not the case. Okay. And I get it. We live in this world where it expects us to always be available. Okay. It's that instant gratification. It's that I text you or I sent you a DM on Facebook or Instagram. Gone are the days that when you left the house, you didn't have a phone with you. You were already unplugged at that moment. And if you are like me and in your 50s, you totally remember that. And I kind of miss it. Because you had to go back home and wonder if somebody called you or you never even thought about it. I don't even know. I was a teenager before we even had an answering machine. So if you called my house, you couldn't even leave a message. You just had to call back later and see if we were back home. And it was freeing. And you never even thought about it. But I get it. So if we're not responding, we feel guilty. And if we take a break, we feel like we're slacking. And then there's this FOMO, the fear of missing out. But here's the truth. If you never unplug, you're going to burn out. Period. No one, not one single person can keep going full speed all the time and still feel happy, energized, and fulfilled. Now, I say that you have to understand what kind of person I am. I love to work. I am very, very passionate about what I do for a living. I'm very passionate about empowering women and answering questions and teaching and being there for other women to uplift them and encourage them and be impactful in their lives. So I thrive on that. As I am recording this podcast, it is 9:00 at night. I am in my she shed and I am loving it. It's not that, oh, it's at the end of the day and I'm tired, but I really need to do this. I want to do this. So it is very difficult for me to kind of shut my brain down and stop everything for the evening and start over tomorrow. So how do you know when it's time to step back and unplug? Because we all need that, right? So here's a few signs that I have discovered that says, okay, it's time to step back, stop for a minute, and just unplug. So number one is that you are constantly exhausted, even when you rest. You ever have those days where you wake up in the morning and you're like, I never fell asleep, I don't think. I never rested. I am even more tired 8 hours later when I woke up than I was when I went to bed. That's exhaustion. Number two, when you reach for your phone, the second you have a free moment. I am so guilty of this. So guilty. And I try very, very hard not to be that way. But it's a struggle. Okay, that's my struggle. Number three, you feel overwhelmed, anxious, or mentally drained. Everything irritates you. Everything bothers you. Okay, that's a sign you need to step back and unplug. You have trouble focusing or being present with your loved ones. I can tell when I need to step back and take a minute. My focus becomes very, very cloudy. I'm working really hard on something or I'm reading something, but I don't comprehend what I've read. Or I have to read it over and over and over again, or I just can't get that post written just right, or I'm trying to edit this video and I've been trying to edit this video, this 1-minute video, mind you, for over an hour because I can't focus, right? So if you're nodding along to any of these, guess what? You need a reset. And trust me, I've been there. So how are we going to do this? Okay. So unplugging doesn't mean you have to disappear for a week. Okay. You don't have to go live in the woods or throw your phone in a lake. You can just start small. Okay. Here are some simple ways that I've come up with to just step away, reset, and refuel. These are just small daily unplugging moments. And I will add this in. If you can find 5 minutes every single day to just unplug for those 5 minutes, it is amazing what that 5 minutes will do for you. In your mind, you're going to think it's just 5 minutes. It can't do anything. It does a whole lot. Okay. So turn off your notifications for an hour. That's a big one. Just turn them off because that ding, 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 ding of your phone can make you very anxious, and you have to look at it. You have to figure out what the message is, right? Most of the time, it's an email trying to send me something, but I still had to look. You know what I mean? Number 2, go for a walk without your phone. The world will still survive. Even if there is an emergency, that 10 minutes will make all the difference. I promise. Eat a meal without distractions. No TV, no scrolling the internet, no scrolling your phone. Don't pull up Pinterest. Don't, fall down in that rabbit hole. Oh, I'm going to eat my lunch for 30 minutes and I'm just going to decompress by looking at Pinterest. Let me just say this. Pinterest makes me more anxious than anything else because all these ideas start flowing through my brain. Ooh, I want to do that and I want to do that and that looks so cool and I want to make that meal and I could do that to my wall and I'm going to redecorate the living room and all this starts to flood in, and by the time that 30-minute lunch is over, you are overwhelmed, overstimulated, and you have pinned 14,000 things to your Pinterest board that you will never look at again, for one, and most certainly probably not ever do. Okay? So just unplug completely. Enjoy the food that you are consuming. Take 5 minutes of complete stillness. No talking, no music, just being. That's the 5 minutes that will make the most difference right there. So those are the small things we can do. There are some bigger ways to recharge your soul. If you really need a bigger recharge, and we all need those. I had one yesterday. Spend some time in nature. When you start to reground yourself, it's amazing what that will do for your soul. And this is going to kind of sound a little crazy probably. However, when you reconnect with Mother Nature, it's calming and it's peaceful. You can read a book, but read one for fun, whatever that is for you. Plan a personal retreat. Yes, even if it's just a bubble bath with no interruptions. I'm going to tell you one of my favorite things to do. And I don't do them often, but at least twice a year, I will take 2 days. And I don't really leave the city around me or whatever. I mean, I have to leave because I live out on a farm. But let's say I go to the big city that's next to me and I just get a hotel room for myself for one night. And I have room service and I have a big jacuzzi bubble bath and all of that. And I reset and recharge in that hotel room for 24 hours. It is the best thing I do for myself. Best money ever spent. I eat chocolate cake in bed. It's wonderful. I highly, highly recommend it. Now, if you can get your girlfriends involved once a year and do a weekend retreat, that's fantastic too. But I'm telling you, by yourself, 24 hours in a hotel room, no distractions. You can binge watch Sex in the City or Friends or whatever your favorite TV show is and eat your chocolate cake in bed. It's one of the best things you can do for yourself. Some other things that we can do is just find the joy in whatever it is and set boundaries. Give yourself permission to step away and do that for yourself. Don't talk yourself out of it. Don't say, well, I'm a mom and the kids need me, and I'm a wife, and my husband needs me, and my family needs me. They do need you, but they need you at your best. And when you are not at your best, you can't give your best to them. And everybody kind of suffers from that. You're short tempered, your patience is short, you're not as creative. You don't find the joy of making homemade chocolate chip cookies in the afternoon and getting flour and sugar and messing up the kitchen and all of that. You don't find those joys. So, a mom, a grandmother, an empty nester, a college student, it doesn't matter what's going on in your life or what age you are. I feel this way about all women, all ages. You need to take time for yourself, for you to be the best you can be for the other people in your life. Okay. So for Kirk and me, our way of unplugging was hopping on that ATV and enjoying the farm yesterday. But for you, it might be as simple as putting your phone on silent and watching the sunset, right? The key is to do something that fills your soul instead of draining it. Okay, so here's my challenge for you this week. Take time to unplug. Whether it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or an entire day, give yourself permission to step away, breathe, and be present with yourself. And when you do, pay attention to how it feels. Are you calmer? Are you more refreshed? Are you more in tune with yourself? Those are the things that you're looking for in the questions you need to answer. I want to hear how this worked for you. So if you take this challenge, I want you to message me or comment on this post so I know how you unplugged and how it helped you. So my friends, that is it for today's episode of I've Been There. I hope this inspires you to unplug your mind, recharge your soul, and give yourself permission to rest without any guilt. If you loved this episode, make sure you subscribe so you never miss one. And if you're feeling extra amazing today, please leave a review. It does truly help more women find the show, and I appreciate you so much for doing that. And as always, go out there, be wonderfully, fabulously, and imperfectly you. I'll see you next time. Take care and keep shining.